Welcome to the channel and the follow-up on this discussion we've been having about this 63 Mercury Monterey frame. We appreciate all the comments that were made about it, and hearing that other guys had problems with both some of their 60s Fords, as well as there was a number of remarks about even GM products in the years that the quality of some of the stuff was definitely subpar. And I know poor Joe, we joke about on this frame, is sure taking a bashing, as well as Ford, because there's definitely no excuse for poor craftsmanship. One thing I noticed from the first video is that I didn't show the top side of the frame in that, which actually is part of the reason that we're more than comfortable with moving ahead and fixing it, because the majority of the actual rot and poor welding on this frame is actually only on the inner channel. It's the outer channels are actually in excellent condition, as well as the top side of the frame, which I'm going to show you within this. Somebody else mentioned about putting power to this frame. Well, this only had a 352 in it, which it was 208 horsepower. In our rebuild, we're only going to be adding maybe 30 more horsepower to the engine. I mean, it's a convertible. It's a cruiser, actually. The other thing that probably saved this frame, because I don't think it would have lasted 60 years if it hadn't have been parked in a barn for 45 years, and it was on concrete. The majority of the rot that we faced with this frame actually is because of probably mice making nests within the inner channels, and of course their nests held the moisture, and that's why the corrosion occurred. The other thing I want to say is that when we first went and looked at this car, despite the condition of this frame, one thing we noticed when we opened and closed the doors on this car, they opened and closed better than most new cars do. They were rock solid, which was another indication to us that the actual structure had been maintained, or at least the shape. This convertible also has 18 body mounts on it, so the body does provide a percentage of the structure, and the floor pans have quite a number of folds in it that also help to make them a little bit stronger. I'm going to show you, I have a shirt on here because we decided to go ahead and make a shirt. This saga about the Ford plan is just, it's been a fun time. So we're going to give you an opportunity to win a shirt if you want to, and I'll tell you how we're going to go about that. So here's the car that we've been talking about, and of course it's in rough shape. The whole car was there, but we didn't realize how much restoration the car was going to require. In Canada, the numbers of these cars is actually pretty low. You can find documentation that there was a roughly 3,700 Monterey convertibles made in '63, but that's a US number. And based on our research, and this is only based on what we estimate, Canada had about 10% the number of cars that the US did. So we expect somewhere around 370 or so of these Monterey convertibles were available in Canada. The other thing for this car is that it's also 1 year only. So our plan is to put it back to as close to original as possible. And most definitely the frame is one of the details for us, because it also has the matching VIN number on the frame, which, if it had to be scrapped, it had to be scrapped. But for us, there's enough material here to put this whole car back together. We did look for another frame. A few people mentioned that replacing the frame, absolutely, that would have been a choice if we could find one, but we certainly didn't find any other frames out there. The other thing is that if you can find a convertible frame, it's going to be pretty rare. You could look for a frame that was non-convertible and then actually cut out the X member that's in the center of it and weld it into a regular chassis frame, which would only have the outer perimeter built into it. that's kind of the plan, and this is sort of the follow-up, I guess. You know, I'm not making an excuse for this because it certainly wasn't good work. And one other detail I did want to actually mention, we're confident that this was all stick welded back in the day, and there's spots on here where I don't know if that'll show up, but if you notice, there's globs on this that actually go this direction. So if you're familiar with stick welding, definitely the hardest position in stick welding is overhead. Gravity is what definitely plays a role in globs going in a downward direction, and there's actually a number of those on this frame, and we wonder if for some reason some of the finish welding on this frame actually had to be done overhead. It certainly would explain the difficulty that whoever welded it had trying to make the welds complete, because stick welding overhead is actually, it takes some serious skill. Don't know if that was the case. Some of these details, unfortunately, are probably never going to be found because, you know, of course, this is so long ago, and many of these employees have probably passed or probably in nursing homes by this point, because we're talking so many years later. And if you were 30 years old in 1963, you're very close to 100 years old now. So thanks again for all the comments. If you had a frame, by all means, you could let us know that you have a frame. And as well, if you're interested in getting a shirt like this, since this has been so much fun doing all this stuff with the Ford plant stuff, we have a video, and on the hoist over on this side, one video has a Camaro on it, and if you want to tell me in the comment what year Camaro and color was on the hoist in the video, we'll send you a shirt, and we'll probably give away like 3 shirts. So by all means, if you want a what happened at the Ford plant in 1963 shirt, this is how you can win it. Comment what year and what color Camaro was on the hoist in one of our videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.